this is a video that I want to make because, as I said, target individual, me, in my case of being targeted, the perps are trying to present themselves as something that is such a falsification of reality. Because on top of that, I know who put me in this program, right? As I said, as a target individual, there'll be a lot of psyops, right? People are going to present themselves as something they're not to try to make it seem like they're the one doing this to you. You have to remember that it's been heard from others. They talk about different facade. People say, oh, these people look like they're like ex-military, or they're like this and that, or there's like a bunch of just Jewish people doing this, or there's a bunch of Russian people doing this, or a bunch of like specific like type of people. And it's just a facade. It's not, it's obviously run by the government. It's not just like some. And for me, it's like, because the people, my employer who put me in this program, is extremely influenceable, but on the conservative side of things, but very impactful in this country, in the United States, very. And so the facade that I have is a bunch of people who are trying to make it seem like they try to make themselves be like this progressive, like radical group of individual, which is just a facade, because the program does that to everybody, even children. And so the reason why they have this facade for me as they try to counter it is because they try to block out the reality of my employer, who some of the reason why I'm in this program has to do with race. And my employer is extremely on the conservative side, to the point where they impacted even abortions, right? In this country, you hear about the Roe versus Wade overturn. My employer participated in helping out for this to happen, right? They openly donated money for organizations that were pushing this change, right, to go against abortion rights, and they were successful. And so now, in many states, abortions are hard to get, right? I used to work for that employer that pushed that and was successful about it. Now the people here wants to present themselves as something else. Now the technology is extremely sophisticated, very sophisticated, and it can do so much, right? I know these people doing this to me are just the bottom feeders in this. They're not really, they don't have, they're nobodies, but once they're in the program and doing this, participating toward me, they can do so much to me, and they can say so much to me, and there's so much provided. But in reality, what they truly have capability of doing is minimal, because they're not really the people in charge. They might be the people I hear, people I see, people that just like hands-on, but they're not really the people who are moving and shaking. They're just the bottom feeders. That's what I call them. And these people are wanting to present themselves as like this, like it's our world. It's like, they can't even say Roy Moore, right? A pedophile that picked up kids, because my employer openly provided and gave some money to this man, right? And so now, like, I'm hearing news because today's the anniversary of the overturn of Roe versus Wade, right? And and you know, that brings back the reality that the real people behind my targeting, the people who put me in this program, are the people who helped that. Well, these people are trying to counter reality. They call it the war. The war is to do whatever they can to block that reality. They want to create a fantasy. And so with me, they're going to try to create this theater of all sorts. Because I obviously know these people have nothing to do with, like, me being in this program. They're just the bottom feeders that will even torture children and women. But they want to be something else. And so what they're going to do is create a theater, and they get frustrated because they can do so much to me, but they can't even say Roy Moore. They get frustrated because they want to be like the people that will put you because we did this and that. It's like, now, first of all, they put me in this program. You torture women and children, and you do the pedophilia things. But that's not how they want to present themselves. So there's something that I'm hearing in the news about this Biden signing executive like order to help these abortions things, and they were saying a while ago, oh, he's gonna sign it. He's gonna sign it. I don't know what they were talking about. In my mind, I'm thinking maybe they're talking about something else in regard to me. But if it's about that, if it's about signing this abortion, it just how pathetic it is. They're just trying to counter the reality of things. That in 2023, the employer who put me in this program helped pass a law or overturn a law that protects abortion in the United States of America. And they're like, oh, he's going to sign. Like, I'm like, it's so pathetic. Now I understand this technology is so sophisticated. They obviously know what's going to happen and what I'm going to hear. And so they don't understand that. But I know the limitation. I know that they're just the bottom feeders. But also, I'm aware that because they're participant in my targeting, they can sound like mistakeful, but they're not. They're trash. They can't even say Roy Moore. He's going to sign. Okay, well, they knew he was going to sign something, executive order. If that's the case, I don't know if that's really what they were saying, but it could be. I think most likely they're talking about something somebody's going to sign in regard to me. But it's just how pathetic. You can't. Oh wow, you. First of all, this technology can do so much more than tell me this kind of things. So I expect this is just minuscule in regard of what they can tell me is going to come ahead. Because that's something that they probably they can prep things for that, right? And that's something that's easy to kind of figure out. But what they can do really is what they can do is much greater than that. They can do so much more, but it's so pathetic to see them try to live this fantasy, and the reality is they're just the bottom feeders for these entities. Now with me, they can do all these crazy things. That's why they're like, oh my God, they're nothing. They're just the bottom feeders. These entities contract. The reality is this: my employer, who has so much influence in this country, put me in this program, and now this trash who do these things that push people to kill themselves, who radiate people till death, including women and children, who do these pedophilia things, who actually have contracted by entities filled with pedophiles, are limited to just like they can't even say Roy Moore. So I'd rather be dying because my employer put me in this program than living their life and delude themselves and call it being at war. I'd rather die like this, dignified by people who actually helped overturn a abortion law to protect abortion, then do these things where they come up with this little fantasy reality, force people to think in these disgusting ways, can't even say Roy Moore, be in a program that torture even children and women, and try to play the feminist. I'd rather die like this.